Hello, my friend, and welcome to another episode of English Daily 24 Age. My name is John, and I'm really happy you're here today. Whether you're listening while you're driving, walking, cooking dinner, relaxing at home, or maybe even during your lunch break, thank you for spending a few minutes of your day with me. I truly appreciate it, and I promise I'll do my best to make these 20 minutes worth your time. Before we begin, I have a small favor to ask. If you want to improve your English little by little every single day, make sure you subscribe to the channel. It really helps us create more free lessons for learners all around the world. And while you're here, I'd love to know where you're listening from. Leave a comment below and tell me your country or your city. I always enjoy reading your comments, and it's amazing to see students from so many different places learning English together. Now let me ask you a question. Have you ever thought, why is English so difficult? Maybe you've been studying for months, maybe even for years. You've learned grammar, you've memorized vocabulary, you've watched hundreds of videos. But when someone suddenly asks you a simple question in English, your mind goes completely blank. You know the words, you know the grammar, but somehow they don't come out. If that sounds familiar, don't worry. You're definitely not alone. In fact, almost every English learner experiences this at some point. The good news is that this doesn't mean you're bad at languages. It doesn't mean you're too old. It doesn't mean you're not smart enough. It simply means you've been practicing the wrong way. Today, I want to share something that completely changed the way many successful English learners study. It's not a secret method. It's not a magic trick. It's not something expensive. It's actually something very simple that anyone can start doing today. But before I explain it, I'd like you to imagine something. Think about a baby learning their first language. Does a baby begin by studying grammar books? No. Does a baby memorize long vocabulary lists? Of course not. Does a baby worry about making mistakes? Not at all. A baby listens every single day, again and again, thousands of times. The baby hears people talking while eating, playing, laughing, shopping, watching television, and spending time with family. Little by little, the brain starts recognizing sounds, then words, then expressions, then complete sentences. Eventually, one day, the baby speaks. Not perfectly, but naturally. Now, I'm not saying adults should learn exactly like babies. Adults have advantages too. We can understand explanations, notice patterns, and organize our learning better. But there's one lesson we can learn from children. Language grows through exposure. The more English becomes part of your daily life, the easier it becomes. Many students believe they need 3 or 4 hours every day to improve. Honestly, most people don't have that kind of time. You probably have work, school, family, responsibilities, and maybe you're already tired when you get home. That's completely normal. The truth is that consistency is much more important than studying for many hours once a week. Imagine two students. The first studies English for 4 hours every Saturday. The second studies just 15 minutes every day. After a few months, who do you think will make more progress? Usually it's the second student. Because learning a language is like watering a plant. You don't pour 100 liters of water on it once a month. You give it a little water every day. Your English works exactly the same way. Small daily practice creates big results over time. So here's today's first challenge. Don't ask yourself, how much English can I study today? Instead, ask yourself, how can I bring English into my day? Those are two completely different questions. Maybe while you're brushing your teeth, you can listen to a short podcast. Maybe while you're making breakfast, you can play an English video in the background. Maybe while you're walking to work, you can repeat a few simple sentences. These moments may seem small, but together, they become incredibly powerful. Here's another mistake many learners make. They wait until they feel ready. They say, "When I know more vocabulary, I'll start speaking. When my grammar is perfect, I'll start speaking. When my pronunciation improves, I'll start speaking." But that day never comes. Because speaking is not the reward after learning English. Speaking is part of learning English. Think about learning to ride a bicycle. Would you spend 6 months reading books about bicycles before getting on one? Of course not. You would probably fall a few times. You would feel uncomfortable. You might even laugh at yourself. But every attempt would make you a little better. Speaking English works exactly the same way. Mistakes are not signs of failure. They're signs that you're learning. Every mistake teaches your brain something new. And here's something I really want you to remember. Please don't compare yourself to someone who has been studying English for 10 years. Compare yourself to the person you were last month. Can you understand a little more? Can you recognize more words? Can you build longer sentences? Can you follow conversations a little better? If the answer is yes, then congratulations. You're improving. Sometimes progress is so small that we don't notice it. But small improvements every day become huge improvements after 1 year. That's why patience is one of the most important skills for learning a language. Not grammar, not vocabulary, patience. Because fluency isn't built overnight. It's built one conversation, one sentence, one new word, one listening session, and one small habit at a time. And let me tell you something that I honestly believe. Your English doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to help you connect with people. Think about this. English is spoken by millions of people around the world. Most of them are not native speakers. They have different accents, different cultures, and different ways of speaking. Yet they communicate successfully every single day. Why? Because communication is more important than perfection. Your goal isn't to sound exactly like someone from London or New York. Your goal is to be understood. And believe me, you can absolutely do that, even sooner than you think. So today, instead of chasing perfection, let's chase progress. Let's celebrate every new word, every sentence you understand, every video you finish, and every conversation you try. Because those small victories are exactly what build confident English speakers. Now, in the next part of today's episode, I'm going to share some practical daily habits that you can start using immediately, even if you only have 10 or 15 minutes each day. I'll also show you a simple technique that thousands of learners use to become more confident when speaking English. The first habit I want to share with you is probably the easiest one, and at the same time, it's one of the most powerful. Listen to English every single day. Now, I know what some people are thinking. "John, I don't understand native speakers. They speak too fast." That's completely normal. Every English learner feels that way at the beginning. The mistake many people make is believing they need to understand every single word before listening becomes useful. That's simply not true. Think about your favorite song. The first time you heard it, did you understand every lyric? Probably not. But after listening again and again, the words slowly became familiar. English works exactly the same way. Your brain is constantly learning patterns, sounds, pronunciation, and rhythm, even when you don't realize it. So don't worry about understanding 100%. Instead, focus on becoming comfortable with hearing English every day. Listen while you're making breakfast. Listen while you're cleaning your room. Listen while you're driving, exercising, or taking a walk. Even 10 or 15 minutes every day can completely change the way your ears recognize English after a few months. Now, here's something that many successful learners do after listening. They don't just stop the audio and move on with their day. They use their voice. Let me explain why this is so important. Learning a language is not only something your brain does. Your mouth also needs practice. Your tongue needs practice. Your lips need practice. Speaking English is a physical skill, just like learning to play the guitar or learning to swim. The more you move those muscles, the more natural speaking becomes. So after listening to a sentence, pause the audio and repeat it. Don't worry if your pronunciation isn't perfect. Don't worry if you sound different from the speaker. Your goal isn't perfection. Your goal is progress. Listen carefully. Copy the rhythm, copy the emotion, copy the pauses, and simply enjoy the process. Let's try something together right now. Repeat after me. Every day is a new opportunity to improve my English. Great. Now, another one. I don't need to be perfect. I just need to keep going. Excellent. One more. Small habits create big results. Very nice. You see? Speaking isn't scary when you remove the pressure of being perfect. It's simply practice. Every sentence you repeat builds confidence without you even noticing. Another powerful habit is reading out loud. Many people read silently, which is useful for vocabulary, but reading aloud develops fluency. When you read with your voice, your eyes, your brain, and your mouth start working together. This creates stronger connections and helps your pronunciation improve naturally. You don't need difficult books. In fact, simple texts are usually better. Read children's stories. Read beginner dialogues. Read short news articles. Read subtitles. The important thing isn't the difficulty. It's consistency. Read slowly the first time. Then read again with more confidence. Finally, read with emotion, as if you're telling a story to someone sitting next to you. You'll be surprised how much more natural your speaking begins to sound after only a few weeks. Now I'd like to share something that I wish every English learner understood much earlier. The real goal isn't studying English. The real goal is living with English. There is a huge difference. Studying English feels like homework. Living with English feels like making English part of your everyday routine. Change your phone to English. Follow English creators on social media. Watch cooking videos in English if you enjoy cooking. Watch football videos if you love sports. Watch travel videos if you dream of visiting new countries. The more English becomes connected to things you already enjoy, the less it feels like studying, and the more it becomes part of your lifestyle. And this brings me to something incredibly important. In my opinion, the fastest way to become confident in English is speaking. Not memorizing hundreds of grammar rules. Not collecting thousands of vocabulary words. Speaking. Because language is communication. The challenge, of course, is that many learners don't have someone to practice with. Maybe none of your friends speak English. Maybe there aren't conversation groups where you live. Maybe you're shy, or maybe you're afraid of making mistakes in front of other people. If that's your situation, I want you to know something. You're not alone. Thousands of students around the world face exactly the same problem. That's exactly why we created the English Conversation Guide. Instead of waiting until you find the perfect conversation partner, you can start practicing today. The English Conversation Guide contains more than 100 carefully designed dialogues based on real-life situations that you will actually experience. You'll learn how to introduce yourself, order food in a restaurant, ask for directions, go shopping, travel, make new friends, talk about your job, speak at the airport, visit a hotel, talk on the phone, and much more. The dialogues are simple, practical, and created especially for English learners who want to build real speaking confidence. The more you read them aloud, repeat them, and practice them, the more natural English begins to feel. If you've been wondering how to start speaking without depending on another person, I honestly think this guide can make a huge difference in your journey. If you'd like to learn more, you'll find the link in the description below. I truly believe it can save you months of frustration and help you start speaking with much more confidence. And remember this: confidence doesn't come before speaking. Confidence comes because of speaking. Every conversation, every repeated sentence, every dialogue you practice is another brick in the foundation of your fluency. One day, you'll suddenly realize that you're answering questions without translating. You'll understand videos that once seemed impossible. You'll have conversations that you never imagined you could have. That day won't happen because of luck. It will happen because you kept showing up one day at a time, even when progress seemed slow. Now I want to leave you with one final thought. Imagine yourself 1 year from today. Close your eyes for just a moment and picture it. Imagine understanding movies without reading every subtitle. Imagine traveling to another country and confidently ordering food, asking for directions, or having a friendly conversation with someone you've just met. Imagine getting a better job because you can communicate in English. Imagine making friends from different parts of the world. None of these things are impossible. In fact, they're much closer than you probably think. The only question is this: what will you do tomorrow? Because your future English isn't created someday. It's created by the small choices you make every single day. Don't underestimate the power of consistency. There will be days when you don't feel motivated. There will be days when you're tired after work or school. There will be days when you feel like you're not improving at all. That's completely normal. Every person who has ever learned a language has experienced those moments. The difference is that successful learners don't stop when motivation disappears. They continue because they've built a habit. Motivation comes and goes, but habits stay with you. If you can build the habit of spending just a few minutes with English every day, you'll eventually reach places that seem impossible today. And here's something I'd really like you to remember whenever you feel discouraged. Learning English isn't a race. You don't need to learn faster than anyone else. Someone else's progress doesn't slow down yours. Every learner has a different story, a different schedule, and different challenges. Maybe someone has more free time than you. Maybe someone started learning years before you did. That's okay. Your only job is to become a little better than you were yesterday. That's enough. Don't compare your Chapter 1 to someone else's Chapter 20. Keep your eyes on your own journey and celebrate every small victory along the way. I also want you to stop being afraid of making mistakes. Let me tell you a little secret. Even native English speakers make mistakes. They forget words. They pronounce things incorrectly. They sometimes use the wrong grammar. Nobody speaks perfectly all the time. The difference is that they don't let mistakes stop them from communicating. So why should you? Every mistake is simply proof that you're using the language instead of hiding from it. And every time you correct a mistake, your English becomes a little stronger. Here's a challenge I'd like you to accept before we meet again. Starting tomorrow, spend just 15 minutes with English. 5 minutes listening to something interesting. 5 minutes speaking out loud, even if you're speaking to yourself. And 5 minutes reading or reviewing a few useful expressions. That's it! 15 minutes. Almost everyone can find 15 minutes somewhere during the day. Maybe before breakfast, maybe before going to bed, maybe during your lunch break. Don't worry about studying for hours. Just focus on showing up every day. You'll be amazed by what happens after a few months. And while you're practicing, remember something we talked about earlier. Speak whenever you can. Read dialogues out loud. Repeat sentences. Build your confidence one conversation at a time. And if you're looking for an easy way to practice realistic conversations every day, Don't forget to check out the English Conversation Guide. It was created especially for learners who want to stop memorizing isolated words and start using real English in everyday situations. With more than 100 practical dialogues, you'll always have something useful to practice, whether you have 5 minutes or 50. If that sounds like exactly what you need, you'll find the link waiting for you in the description below. Before we finish, I'd love to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what is your biggest challenge when learning English? Is it speaking, listening, pronunciation, vocabulary, or maybe confidence? I read your comments every week, and they also help me decide what topics we should cover in future episodes. And don't forget to tell me where you're watching from. Every time I open the comments and see people learning English from Brazil, Angola, Portugal, India, Mexico, Japan, Germany, Italy, South Africa, and so many other countries, it reminds me that we're building a truly global learning community. That's something really special, and I'm so grateful that you're part of it. If today's episode encouraged you or taught you something new, please take 1 second to subscribe to English Daily 24 Hours. Give this video a thumbs up because it really helps the channel reach more people who are trying to improve their English. And if you know someone who's also learning English, share this episode with them. Sometimes one simple video can completely change someone's motivation to keep learning. Finally, I want to say something directly to you. Yes, you? I know there are moments when you doubt yourself. I know there are days when English feels difficult and progress feels slow, but I genuinely believe you're capable of becoming a confident English speaker. Not because I'm trying to motivate you with empty words, but because I've seen thousands of learners succeed by following simple, consistent habits. They weren't born speaking English. They weren't geniuses. They simply refused to give up. And you can do exactly the same. So keep listening, keep speaking, keep reading, keep making mistakes. Keep smiling when you don't know a word, because every question is another opportunity to learn something new. Remember, fluency isn't about being perfect. Fluency is about feeling comfortable enough to communicate, connect with people, and express who you are. That journey starts today, with one small step, and another tomorrow, and another the next day. Thank you so much for spending this time with me. It truly means a lot. I hope this episode made you feel more confident, more motivated, and more excited about your English journey. Until next time, take care of yourself. Keep believing in your progress. Keep practicing a little.